Order of business tonight is a public hearing for a prior notice, local law 95-1. Did you get any copies of that on the table, Barb, at all? Of the?
No, it's in my office if you want me to get it.
Okay.
I asked you and you said that it didn't need to be on the tables.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't, but I don't have a copy here of my own. I thought I had one in my book here. Is it?
If you
Could you do that?
excuse me, I'll go get one.
Okay. We'll just take a few minutes here. Does anyone on the board have a copy of that?
No.
I don't know what I do, Howard.
Well, that's the one without written notice.
I read it, but I don't.
Yeah, I thought I had it right here with me, and I don't, so.
Yeah, but we didn't get a copy of it, did we?
Didn't I give you a copy? I thought I gave it. I didn't get, did I give you a copy? You didn't get a copy of it? There was a model local law that was sent to us by
Well,
the
maybe you
insurance
passed
company.
it around and we read it right at the table then.
No, just
Maybe that was it.
No.
Because I know I read it. We get so much paper.
Yeah.
I might have it.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Barb. I apologize for not having mine with me.
Thank you.
Oh. Well, yeah, we need them to send back to the attorney if we approve it.
So we're not supposed to write on it?
No, this isn't our copy. Okay, just to briefly describe what this local law is, it's a local law providing for written notification of defects and obstructions on town highways, bridges, streets, sidewalks, crosswalks, and culverts in the town of Volney. And this resolution, or this local law, came about as a request of our municipal reciprocal insurance company. Communities everywhere are doing this to protect themselves from hazards that they may not even be aware of that turn up. This is not an unusual. This is a pretty common thing that they're doing all over the state. I won't read the whole context of the local law unless someone hasn't seen it and wants to know anything particular about it. It's been on display here in the town clerk's office for the last week or so. So I'm going to open the floor to any questions on it if you have any at this time. Everyone pretty much understands it. Charlie? Okay, why don't I read it? That's probably the best way to go through it. The local law, Section 1 reads, no civil action shall be maintained against the town of Volney or its superintendent of highways for damages or injuries to person or property sustained by reason of any highway, bridge, street, sidewalk, crosswalk, or culvert being defective, out of repair, unsafe, dangerous, or obstructed unless written notice of such defective, unsafe, dangerous, or obstructed condition of such highway, bridge, street, sidewalk, crosswalk, or culvert was actually given to the town clerk or town superintendent of highways, and that there was a failure or neglect within a reasonable time after the giving of such notice to repair or remove the defect, danger, or obstruction complained of. No such action shall be maintained for damages or injuries to person or property sustained solely in consequence of the existence of snow or ice upon any highway, bridge, street, sidewalk, crosswalk, or culvert unless written prior notice thereof specifying the particular place was actually given to the town clerk or town superintendent of highways, and there was failure or neglect to cause such snow or ice to be removed or to make the place otherwise reasonably safe within a reasonable time after the receipt of such notice. Section 2. The town superintendent of highways shall submit in writing to the town clerk within 5 days after the receipt thereof all written notices received pursuant to this local law in subdivision 2 of section 65A of the town law. The town clerk shall cause all written notices received pursuant to this local law in subdivision 2 of section 65A of the town law to be presented to the town board within 5 days of the receipt thereof or at the next succeeding town board meeting, whichever shall be sooner. Section 3 of this local law shall supersede in its application of the town of Volney subdivisions 1 and 3 of section 65A of town law. Basically, what this does is, well, as we all know, when we have an ice condition or snow condition in the winter, and our highway department goes out to take care of that, they obviously can't do the whole town all at once. They have to start at one end or a certain area and work their way to the others. So if there's a problem in one end of town, we can't be there. This will protect the town from being sued because it was icy in one part of town before we could get to it. That's part of it, but also there's other things like a pothole that developed that we aren't even aware of, things like that. If we neglect them, then it's our responsibility, but if we're not aware of them, it'll prevent a lawsuit. It also keeps our insurance premiums down because we have this on the books. Okay? Any other questions or comments on this local law? Okay, hearing none, I'll move to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Barbie, poll the council.
Counselor Ridgway,
Aye.
Counselor Smart,
Aye.
Counselor Warner,
Aye.
Supervisor Rose.
Aye. Okay, I'm going to call the regular town board meeting to order. Barb, let the record show that the same members of the board are present. First order of business is approval of minutes. Resolution 95-80, move that the regular town board minutes of May 12, 1995, having been distributed, be approved without reading. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Barbie, poll the council.
Counselor Ridgway,
Aye.
Counselor Smart,
Aye.
Counselor Warner,
Aye.
Supervisor Rose.
Aye. Next order of business, payment of bills, Resolution 95-81. Move that vouchers number 152 through 179, general fund, in the amount of $9,196.33, and vouchers number 127 through 153, highway fund, in the amount of $21,389.11. Having been approved, be approved, and the supervisor be authorized to pay them from the designated account. Would someone like to move that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Barbie, poll the council.
Counselor Ridgway,
Aye.
Counselor Smart,
Aye.
Counselor Warner,
Aye.
Supervisor Rose.
Aye. We have another resolution that we had to put together at the end of the day here, and this has to do with the gradle, or whatever you call it. What's the proper term? I know gradle, we're not supposed to use it.
Hydraulic excavator.
Hydraulic excavator, thank you. We got the money for that today, and we have to transfer some funds for that. So I'm going to call this resolution 95-85. And it reads, we hereby resolve that the following transfer be made from the highway fund, fund balance DA 909, $97,805, to the capital machinery fund, fund balance number 909, H909. I'll move it.
I'll second it. Discussion.
Okay.
That doesn't deplete that account, does it?
To be honest with you, Jess, I'm not sure.
It shouldn't.
I'm not sure what the balance is in there right now.
We were just gonna leave some in there in case.
Well,
The bonding plus what
the
was
bonding
in
was
there,
100,000.
plus what was in there already was more than.
Seems like there was
was.
108,000 in there before.
Right,
Because it come to 184,000, right?
Okay.
right, so there's some in there for other things.
So we're taking 97,000.
97,805. Apparently, this is what my bookkeeper figured out to be the difference we need to go with the bond that we made to pay the piece of machinery off.
Why are, isn't that more than we said? I thought we paid 180.
184.
Yeah. Why are we, we bonded for 100,
Bonded for 100.
and this 197 is
Unless there's a,
there something else?
What's the
Barb, do you know anything about this? I know our
Pam's in
bookkeeper.
there.
Is she in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
seemed to come up the last thing,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just got this today, and I know we have to pay the bill because it's due, it's overdue actually, and we just got the money from our bonding so that we could
Yeah,
couple
I
it with
just
this. Yeah.
why we're
What's-
pulling it out
what's the amount of
of
the
that account.
$97,805.
Yeah, that's more.
I hope she doesn't mind coming in here.
I don't think so.
This just came late this afternoon, that's why I'm not really clear on it, because I haven't been here all day.
Somebody,
Somebody went to get it, right? Yeah, Cindy did. Yeah. Just give her a few more minutes. Maybe she doesn't want to come in, maybe I should. Excuse me for just a minute, I'll be right back.
And as we leave the room one by one. We'll have to have Alan read the paper or something.
should have left them windows open.
It's stuffy in here. Are we supposed to leave too?
Okay, what this is, I apologize for the delay here. What this is, this is not a payment being made for that piece of equipment. This is transferring the money that was in that other account into the special account, which it has to be in so we can draw from it. Okay? That is the actual balance, 97,000.
Oh, but it's got, okay, it's being put in the special.
Into a special account, right. That's not what we're actually paying towards
Okay.
the additional money with the bond. That's only being put into an account that we can draw from legally. Okay?
Okay.
So that's all it is. Okay. Given that, someone like to second the motion?
It's been seconded. Roll call.
Oh, it has been? Okay. Roll call. Barbie, call the roll, please.
Okay. Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye. Okay. Next on the agenda is communications. I have two pieces of communication. One, to the Volney Town Board, be it known that the City of Fulton, Fulton Veterans Council, at a ceremony May 3rd, 1995, donated and dedicated the American, the MIA, and the New York State flags at the Volney Veterans Memorial at the Volney Town Hall. Signed, Gold Star Mother, Bernadette Zufeld. The other letter that I received is from John Lincoln from the City of Fulton. Enclosed is a copy of a letter I recently sent to Lieutenant Rebior with regard to the above entitled matter. I had previously been contacted by Theodore Galvin with this concern. The lieutenant suggested I contact the town of Volney or the State Department of Transportation regarding this concern. As a result of his suggestion, I'm asking that you respond to this letter in a timely fashion. The letter reads, it was brought to my attention that at the above-mentioned exit on Route 481 north that maybe there should be a no right on red sign there. According to a call I received, there have been several near misses there. Does your department have any jurisdiction at that roadside? This was addressed to Lieutenant Rebier of the City of Fulton Police Department. And what this is referring to is, as you're coming out of the River Glen Mall to exit, to turn right to come into the City of Fulton, there's no sign that says no turn on red. And there probably should be, because traffic coming on 57 in towards you can make a left with a green arrow there, and you're never going to know about that. And if you're looking for traffic coming from your left coming into the city, thinking that you can make a right on red there, you could get nailed. And that's what this is referring to, and we're checking it out, and I'm sure that the city's also checking it out. So I'm mentioning it mostly because I want people to be aware of that situation until it's corrected. Okay? Committee reports. The assessors are in the process of finalizing the assessment roll, which is due July 1st. Planning Board, Kevin.
Busy meeting. Our meeting was last night. We had quite a full agenda, including 2 public hearings. The first public hearing involved the proposed Fulton Savings Bank branch to be located in the River Glen Square Shopping Plaza. The applicant had requested site plan approval from us. We held a public hearing. There was some discussion, and the request was approved by a 5-0 vote of the board. So we would expect to see construction. Well, there's been some movement there already, but expect to see actual construction commence in the very near future. Just for public information, they had come to us earlier, and the board did have some concern regarding the location of the entrance and exit. Since this time now, the entrance and the exit will be put on the parking lot side of the plaza, which I think will work out very well, and we certainly welcome the addition of their business to our plaza. The second public hearing involved a proposed major subdivision to be located on Baldwin Road between Hawk and Raleigh. The board has not yet made a decision regarding that, when we're probably going to be holding a working session on Thursday, June 22nd, where we're going to be discussing that matter further. There is some unique physical features to that area out there, and we need to discuss that a little further. Under old business, the board began reconsideration of its previous decision regarding an application for a zone change made by Penny Eason for property located on County Route 45. Due to the lateness in which the documents were submitted, the board did not have an opportunity to really review what she had presented. So the board has put off consideration until its July meeting. The board also heard a presentation by representatives of the proposed Seneca Hill Medical Complex, updating us on the progress they have made, and I believe there's further meetings planned in the future. One of the things that they're discussing is an opportunity to maybe for town board members and planning and possibly zoning board members to tour the site, and I could talk to you later about that. They're wondering if there's some interest in respect to that, so that they can show where the proposed location of roadways are going to be, the proposed location of buildings and stuff like that. One of the things that I have seen is I think that there is some consideration on their part of the interests of the town, and that's good. There seems to be some movement in that respect, and they have been very good regarding that. One of the things they did announce at the meeting last night is that there's going to be a type of recreation trail or a recreation walkway which will be incorporated into the campus. It's a very large site, and it has a lot of scenic aspects to it. And one of the things that I know the board, I was concerned about, is that you're putting this major development, in the township in what was largely a rural and residential area. While there's a lot of positive benefits to that, people who might have been walking along the road in the past or would walk a dog or a jog or something are going to be experiencing the obvious traffic and flow like that. So there's a negative impact there. For the benefit of patients, relatives of patients, residents, and as well as people in the area, I think that it's a very positive move on their part to incorporate into this beautiful area some type of maintained trail. And they will be doing that. There'll be a separate parking area, so it'll be accessible to anybody. And I think it's the first, I believe it'll be the first one of its kind in the town. And I've seen these things in other areas, and I think it'll be utilized a lot. So I think that's going to be a positive aspect to what we're looking at here. The board also approved by a 4-0 to 1 vote the proposed rear entrance for the River Glen Plaza last night. And I think that's going to be also a very good move. This should eliminate the crossing of the existing grass, well, it used to be grassy, it's not grassy anymore, the existing median that's there, and provide residents, you know, of the entire area there a safe and convenient access to the plaza. So I want to stress that the owners of the plaza were very positive and anxious to do this. They saw that it was necessary, and I think it's going to be a good benefit. Also considering the fact that you are looking at further development, at least from the point of view of the Fulton Savings Bank, in that plaza, which will only increase traffic. Under new, the board also passed a formal seeker resolution regarding the Seneca Hill complex application. And what that does is it's a formality, but there's some very important points in it. We asked to be identified as lead agency for environmental review. We also ensured that packages were sent out to other agencies that are involved. And as part of it, we made the determination that outside review of this environmental impact statement is necessary. We basically stated that we don't have the resources and the experience to review documents that thick containing all this information. And we made the determination that an engineering firm that the town has dealt with in the past will review the document, and the cost of that will be borne by the applicant. Under new business, the board reviewed and okayed at least 3 applications for single splits or single subdivisions. On a 4th application, we sat down with the individual and made a determination that we didn't think the subdivision review was necessary. It got to be pretty late at that time, and the board was unable to deal with the request by the Zoning Update Committee to review some of their proposals. We tried, there was some concerns, so I'm also going to try to get that to be part of the working session we have coming up, and hopefully we can finalize our review of that at the July meeting. Our regular meeting for July, if we followed the way we're supposed to be doing it, it would be on Wednesday, July 5th. I would say that there's a reasonable expectation that that may be moved back a week. So if you're really interested in attending our next meeting, you can call me or check the paper, and we'll announce it if we do end up changing the date. Finally, there was some concern expressed by board members regarding the policy of the planning board to review single splits, and also the policy of the planning board to try to ensure that if somebody is splitting their property, that there be some reasonable expectation that there's water on the property and that it can handle a septic system. I think that, you know, it's a reasonable concern, and it's certainly come up in the past. I know I've brought it up, and when we have reviewed it, there did seem to be justification for that. But it's certainly not the intention of this board to do something that's redundant, that's already being handled by another agency, or to take up people's time if it's not necessary. So what I intend on doing is I intend on contacting the health department of the county and the county planning board just to get some more documentation and some more information, so that if anybody's interested, you know, I can have it available. I will say that we have looked at this area in the past, and it was determined that this review is necessary. And the only thing I can say, if you want to equate it to something, you know, if you're driving down Route 81 or a highway, you see all these state troopers periodically parked on the side of the road. You get stopped periodically going home when they check your registration and license, and sometimes you'll wonder in your mind, why are my tax dollars going to this? Why am I being bothered? I'm a law-abiding citizen. Well, we all know we consider it a good trade-off, because there's occasional rare instances in people who seem to not be very caring regarding the laws that exist. And essentially that's why these steps do exist. It's not there for the people who do a good job, and the vast majority do. They exist in the cases of those rare people who can maybe aren't aware of the law, or make a mistake, or are not sure what they're doing, and it can prevent a big problem in the future. But again, times change, laws change. We're going to take a look at it and just see. Other than that, I just want to tell you that we're as busy this summer as we've been any summer, so I don't know. There's a lot going on. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin, I'm not going to ask who cast the dissenting vote, but I am curious as to the objection to having the rear entrance open. What was the reason?
It was an abstention.
Oh,
I'm sorry, it
abstention,
was an
okay.
abstention.
Okay, thank you. Also, while we're on the subject of planning, I have a notice here from the Oswego County announcing a public forum that's going to be held at the Volney Elementary School at 7 p.m. June 19th, and it's concerning land use and community design. They're looking for public input on different aspects of that, ways to enhance community appearance, how to maintain rural character, appropriate locations for commercial, industrial development, agricultural, forestry, recreation, and so on. So if you're interested in this subject, you may want to attend this meeting and give them your input. Zoning Board, Marie?
Basically, I don't have a formal report tonight because we haven't had a meeting since the last meeting. I mean, our zoning meeting is scheduled for next week, so there hasn't been a meeting before your town board meeting. I can tell you that we have scheduled a public hearing for Mr. Tice off in Route 3. He wants to convert his workshop into a residence located on his property. It's in the back of the school, off to the side of the school, but it's down in the location behind the store down there across from J&J Trailer Park is the area that we're looking at. So if anyone's interested in commenting on this, they can attend the meeting on June 14th at 7 o'clock. In addition to that hearing, we're also holding a hearing, a continuance for Mr. and Mrs. Ron Austin for reviewing the special use permit for the family restaurant located on McDougal Road. That will also take place on June 14th. The other thing that I would just like to mention that I've mentioned several times to the school in the past is if you would please do something to change that 5-day rule for putting announcements in the paper that, you know, the county has done it, the state has done it. It's just a matter of a simple resolution of changing the public notice time from 10 days to 5 days. I don't know why you just couldn't make
That's
up a
one of the changes that has been sent to the planning board because it is in our regulations by ordinance. It has to be changed by ordinance, and we're having the planning board review it prior to having a public hearing on it.
You just can't do it in the form of a resolution.
No, you can't change an ordinance by a resolution. You have to change an ordinance with an ordinance or a local law.
Even though it's just a matter of formality of going from 10 to 5.
If it's in as an ordinance, you have to change it with a rule of equal or higher magnitude.
Okay, can I ask when you plan on doing this?
Well, ask Kevin when they're going to review it.
Yeah, I think we gotta take the blame for that. I will do everything in my power to ensure that it's taken care of at our next meeting.
It would really be helpful for the people, because there's a lot of people that come to the meeting, and because the way the Valley News prints the papers only twice a week, and that's a whole week, like on a Thursday, we have to get in by noon to go into Monday, and we could have meetings within 2 weeks if this law was adopted. And I really think it's a real inconvenience for a lot of people that just need a simple variance, and it would really be helpful to us if you would just change that 5-day rule. Thank you.
Recreation, our recreation director isn't here tonight, but she left me a report. 30 children were in attendance for the bingo party. A special thanks to Sweet Inspirations and Little Caesars for providing prizes. Upcoming events for the summer include Thunder Island, trip to the Syracuse Chiefs game, tie-dyeing, and more. Finalized schedules will be completed within the week. Respectfully submitted, Susan Roy. Dog control, Jerry.
Before you go any further, Howard, I got a question.
Sure.
Is there gonna be any more work performed over at the park? Or-
Is there going to be? Well, I understand there's some hay sitting over there, and we do have some grass seed.
The grass seed has all been spread that we had.
Oh, it has? Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Okay, who did that?
Bill and I and.
Oh, really?
some
Okay.
other
So,
kids.
so the next step is to spread the hay?
Just spread the hay on what you got and let the seed and the hay
Okay.
take over.
Well, if anyone's interested in volunteering to help do that, please call my office, and we'll try to set up a date where we can get some people out there to do it, because it sounds like a pretty big undertaking to spread that across the whole area.
And it just, you know, the more you have, the easier it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm, yeah. That's all we lack as far as getting the grass growing over there, I suppose.
Well, there's a lot of grass growing.
Is there a lot of grass growing already? Okay. The highway department has been off on vacation the past week, and I'm hoping that maybe real soon they can get in there and finish up the basketball courts for us. So the volleyball courts are in, and I don't know what Sue has planned yet for that, but I know there was talk about having a tournament sometime towards the end of this month, and I'm sure that'll be noticed in the paper.
Of course, it's out on the bulletin board out there, but there was a semi-tractor trailer donated by Yellow Express.
Hmm.
And
Yes, I don't have the details of that, but...
And Jim Vant donated, I said it was at least 400 bales of hay. And it's, you know, it's all over there, and we had some help getting it spread, Bill's sons and friends and some other kids, and
Right. We have a handful of people working very hard to see this project through, and any other support we can get would very much be appreciated. And I'd like to thank Yellow Freight and Jim Vant for donating their time and services to help out the cause. Okay. Jerry?
Month of May, 73 calls have been received with complaints on dogs or information. One dog was adopted out, 2 dogs were redeemed, 3 dogs at the kennel this month, 0 at the present time. 4 dog bites, 2 dog bites and 4 dogs reported loss. Traveled 540 miles. And repairs at the kennel alone, stem mold and the grass has been trimmed and everything. The state inspector come in, everything was beautiful last week, except they asked if we could get the floor resealed sometime this summer before bad weather, so dogs won't have to breathe the fumes and stuff. I guess it's like epoxy or something.
it's going to be probably acid cleaned and epoxy sealed and epoxy paint put on it to hold.
Time to do it this summer.
It would be this summer where the dogs can be put in the other runs out in the open area.
I don't know who to contact or anybody about this. I don't guess he said he knew a little bit about it, so
Now,
maybe have him built. I guess
Well-
the sooner we do it this summer, the better off.
I'll see what I can find out before Bill gets back and
The state said they passed it now, but
see what the cost is going to be and everything.
they said everything was good, but they said the floor is gonna need to be attended in the near future, so if they do it, he's done this summer, they don't have to do it in the winter or something.
Makes sense. Okay. Thank you, Jerry. By the way, I've been getting an awful lot of good compliments on the way you've been running the kennel over there, and we really appreciate it. Great job. Code enforcement, Cindy?
In May, we issued 13 permits, 3 for homes, 1 mobile home, 2 additions, 2 accessory buildings, 1 garage, 1 septic, 1 pool, and 2 commercial. The total fees collected were $1,737.76. 1 certificate of occupancy was issued, 12 construction inspections done, 3 fire safety inspections, and 3 complaint follow-ups. I know Kevin said things have been busy, and they sure have for him. I've had a lot of people that I've needed to send to planning. I've had a lot of people asking me about how things are going general. Some contractors are telling me they're busy, some are telling me they're slow. And I looked up from the records last year. In May last year, we issued 10 permits, so 13 this year is about comparable, and 38 to date this year so far, and 36 last year. June, July, and August were the busiest months last year for issuing permits. So I guess we're sort of in a holding pattern. We'll see what happens in the next 3 months as to how busy things are. I want to just remind everyone that my regular office hours are Tuesday and Thursday mornings from 9 to 11, and Barb and I are holding evening hours in the summer on Monday nights from 6 to 8. There's a pretty good bet that we won't be, I know I won't be here the 3rd of July before the 4th. That's probably going to be kind of a crazy week for everybody. So just to let people know, it's possible that my assistant may be here, but I don't think I will be. I also wanted to let people know the 21st and 22nd of June, I believe the 22nd is a Thursday. I won't be in the office those days because I have a training to attend down in Syracuse, full day's training both days. So. We also had the new phone system installed, and my phone number is 598-3803. Barb's handing that out to people when they call the town hall. And I do have a voicemail system, which I think I finally got the knack of. I don't have any means of knowing if I have a second call coming in if I'm on my phone. So you'll automatically be transferred to the voicemail system. So if you're calling during my office hours and you're getting my voicemail and saying, hey, how come she's not there? It's probably I'm there and I'm on the phone with someone else. So try again in a few minutes. Leave me a message. I do check back with it periodically in the morning while I'm there, if I've been on the phone especially, because I know sometimes messages are left while I'm on the phone. I don't think I've had any major problems with, getting back to people. So please leave me a message. That's the only way I know you called. I'd like to thank Kevin for the work he did on getting the issue resolved with the mall and the back entrance. I've had a lot of questions and complaints, and since the mall opened last year and throughout the winter, and I've been concerned about it and didn't want to push Widewaters too hard to do something they didn't want to do, and so I'm glad it's been resolved, and I hope it'll be good for everyone. I don't know if the town board might consider the speed limit on Pierce Drive. I believe right now that the speed limit over there is 55 miles an hour, just like all the back roads are. It might not be a bad idea to consider changing the speed limit in that area. It isn't a very good road. It's pretty windy and dangerous, and if you get trucks in there, it does get a little hairy, and that, even with a speed limit sign, the people who don't want to obey it aren't going to, but maybe it'll remind some people to slow down a little bit. That might be something to consider. I don't know how that's taken care of, but do you need a petition, to change something like that? Okay, well, if anyone who's interested in seeing that speed limit dropped in that area might want to think about getting up a petition.
A petition could come from the town board. It's got to be submitted to the county.
That is my only concern in that area. I've had, Mr. Rowley told me that he had concerns, his trucks pulling out and people coming through real fast, and he said that he had complained to a couple of teenagers to slow down, and their parents came and chewed him out and said, well, the speed limit's 55, so you can't tell them to slow down. And I think it might be a good idea to reduce the speed limit on Pierce Drive, just for safety's sake. That might be something the town could look at.
Have you watched the contractor that's hauling gravel in the Fulton Savings Bank on Pierce Drive
Yeah.
and using the back entrance in and out?
No, I haven't seen him doing that, but I wouldn't be at all
Well,
surprised.
I will say the contractor that's bringing the fill in is using the back entrance more than any resident in the town of Volney.
Yeah, I can believe that. I believe Widewaters really wants it open because a lot of the businesses their small delivery vans like to come in the back there.
I'm gonna do everything I can not to allow trucks to use
Yeah.
that entrance.
Usually I don't see large trucks except, like you said, the construction vehicles, I'm sure, are going in and out of there. So.
There'll be a
There's
sign.
semis going in and out of there right now, hauling gravel.
There'll be a sign.
That is the one thing I would, ask the town to think about. And I just had a comment about Kevin's discussion on subdivision. When people come to me to apply for a building permit, a lot of them I have to send to planning for subdivision review, and I've talked to the attorneys about it. We do have a subdivision ordinance, and it considers any split a subdivision. And unless we choose to change that law, which you can decide to do, they are supposed to get that subdivision approval from planning. The Association of Towns attorney told me that title insurance was a big deal these days. A lot of people were trying to get title insurance when they buy property. And if subdivision regulations are in effect and they're not followed, it can make it impossible for them to get that title insurance. So I think it's something we need to be careful about, and we need to, if we want to change the law, great. If we're going to have the law, we're going to need to enforce it. So, and it makes a little more work for Kevin's planning board, but I think it's worth it. There are times when it's very important that you get. There are a lot of cases, it's pretty straightforward, but occasionally a problem happens if no approval has been looked at. So, thank you.
Thank you. Historian Fern?
Well, I want to apologize first because due to my mother's having some health problems, I haven't been in the office as much as I normally am and intend to be. But I have come across some interesting pictures in 14 or 16 of the Hubbard Schoolhouse and all the students that were there, and one in 1924 that I have all the names of all the students. I also found one where was, I believe, that's got to be in around 1920 of a lot of our past residents, and they he'd been deer hunting and all the deers and many names that people would recognize. Another picture that I have come across, and my husband and I are trying to get that so it can be on the wall in the historian's office, and it lacks a half an inch of being 6 foot long, and it was taken by a regular photographer because the expanse of this, it's a continuous picture, and it was taken in 1913, July 1st and 4th of the peace reunion at Gettysburg. It was the 50th anniversary. There was a peace reunion of the blue and the gray, and it shows all the white tents set up, and it's just very interesting, and I thought that that would be a nice place for that to be on display. And we have talked to people how it could be matted and framed and preserved, so I hope I'll continue to be in the office on Tuesdays or any time that someone wants to make an appointment.
Thank you. Highway, Barb, do you have a report for Bob?
19 days maintenance, 18 days road work, 2 days taking out beaver dams, 3 days putting in driveways, 4 days cutting trees, 5 days mowing roadsides, 1 day mowing cemetery. The wages for May 1995, $18,178.53. Materials and supplies, $21,389.11. The total expenditures for May, $39,567.64, and that's submitted by Bob Kerfing, Highway Superintendent.
Thank you, Barb. Okay, next order of business is old business. Anyone on the board have any old business?
Okay, I'm not sure if this would fall under old or new. It relates to the parkland that we bought down on the river. Last week on Thursday, Jess Warner and Bob Kerfing and myself met with Linda Pomeroy from the Department of Planning and Policy Development with the Canal Corporation, and Kenneth Margray, who's an assistant canal engineer with the corporation, Ben Matten of Central Regional Planning in the Department of State, and Brian Madigan, who's a landscape architect and works through county planning. And they wanted to come down and review the parkland that we had down there. And they're very excited about the town of Volney's commitment to actually getting the land, and that they are very supportive and are willing to help us both in letting us know about what grants that we can apply for development down there. They'll help us write the grants, and they will write us letters of support. And also, in many places along the shore of the canal, there is land that's owned by the Canal Corporation. If you go down Great Bear Road and then turn into, because the Great Bear is a town line road, and when you get to the river, the 50 feet, approximately 50 feet deep along the front of the river is Canal Corporation land, and then you go down there another half to 3/4 of a mile and you hit the land that we bought, and they are willing to grant us work permits if we have volunteers that would like to help develop that property so that it can be used as picnic area or access to the river. And they will also help us with grants to develop that land also. The town of Schuylkill also had a representative, Emilio Tassone, who was on their board, and they are also interested in looking into this so that we could have joint meetings with the town of Schuylkill, so that what we were doing on one side of our side of the town line and what they were doing on their side in Schuylkill would be complementary, and we could really make that a nice area for picnicking, just enjoying the river, fishing or boating down in that area. And this is something that can be done totally with a combination of volunteer and grant money and Ed Marks through County Planning has also said that you can also get people through the work release program from OCJ to do free work down there. So we could really make some good strides down there over the next couple of years without costing the town anything. What happened on that was that this whole budget process that wasn't finished until yesterday has made it so none of the departments that had grant programs could finish until they knew what the budget was. Now that the budget has been finalized, now the departments will know how much money they have, and hopefully sometime the next month or two we'll know what's happened about that.
Okay, good, thank you. Any other old business? Okay, moving along to resolutions and discussion. Our first resolution, 95-82, gates at Great Bear Road. Move to ask the City of Fulton to take down the 2 gates at the Great Bear Road entrance.
Howard, I'd like to have discussion on this before we get a second, so that we don't have to call for a vote if we discuss this and want to table it until we have a meeting with Fulton and their safe drinking water and their water superintendent because of the wells that aren't far off the road, how we can protect these wells from any pollutant coming off vehicles going down in there. And I know we were talking, having a meeting set up June 22nd at 6 o'clock with our attorney, right?
Right.
Maybe we could, at 7 o'clock, or
That would be good because Bill would be back.
Yeah.
and at 7 o'clock, we could set up a meeting with the City of Fulton's representatives on their safe drinking water and discuss how we could help protect the wells that not only supply Fulton with water, but some of our residents, because I don't want to be accused of polluting the well water just to get a road down to the river.
Right.
And
But-
one thing that Sandy Weston called me about that too today, when she heard this was on our agenda, that maybe even if, it might only be that we just need to hesitate long enough for them to put fences or something in the areas where they might have a problem. So the solution might not be that involved, but
No, but
we could discuss it all.
Sandy called me later this afternoon and wanted to know if we could sit down with, because she is on chairman of the Safe Drinking Water?
Yeah.
And their water superintendent, John Florick.
Well, really, since this is a town line road, we should have Scruple
We
involved
should
also.
invite a representative from Scruple and have this meeting and discuss it so that the wells don't get polluted. So
Yes. I'm sorry.
at this time, before it becomes a resolution for a second, I'd like to table this
Okay.
till after we have a meeting with Fulton, say June 22nd.
That's a question that I have, though.
Well,
on
this-
June 22nd, because we had just gotten through saying that we were possibly going to change that to the 21st because of court Spencer.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
well, what
Well-
we'll do, we'll still keep that open-ended 21st or 22nd, Jim, and try to do as much as we can in one night, right?
Well, the only
Yeah,
thing is so
no,
that we
don't
can
schedule anything on either
let,
day.
I can let Sandy Weston know. I told her I'd let her
Right
know.
now, but-
Okay, well, what I'll do, I'll get with all the parties involved and find out if they can all meet on the 21st, since we already know there's a conflict for the 22nd with one of them, right, that we need to meet with.
Right.
And we'll try to coordinate it, and I'll try to schedule this the same night. Hopefully it won't be too much for one evening, but I don't think it will be.
Well, if
But it
we,
makes sense to hold off on this until we discuss this with the other communities involved.
so at this
It'd
time,
be better if you made the water thing last,
Somebody want,
I second. You
Okay.
moved the table?
I moved the
move the
table.
table. Jim seconded, Barb, we poll the council.
Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
though. Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye. Okay, next resolution, 95-83, prior notice, local law number 95-01. Move to adopt local law 9501, a local law providing for written notification of defects and obstructions on town highways, bridges, streets, sidewalks, crosswalks, and culverts in the town of Volney. I'll move it.
Second it.
Discussion from the board on this local law? Questions or comments from the public on this local law? Okay. Before I ask Barb to poll the council, could everyone pass their sheet back to me so I can give it to Barb? She needs to sign these and mail them in. Thank you. Okay, Barb, will you poll the council, please?
Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye. Okay, this next resolution, 95-84, it may raise some eyebrows. Renew Miller Brewery liquor license. Move that the town of Volney has no objections to the renewal of the following license with the New York State Liquor Authority of Miller Brewing Company located at P.O. Box 200, Route 57, Gate B, Fulton, New York, 13069. Brewer's license number 96-2 OSWE D00119-101. Brewer's license number 96-2 OSWE BR 00119-102. And Brewer's license number 96-2 OSWE C 00119-103. I'll move it.
Second it.
Any discussion from the board? Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, I don't know if this means anything promising. I think it's just to keep their options open on brewing, so let's not get too excited about it. Barb, will you poll the council, please?
Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye. Okay, new business. Any new business on the board? Okay. Petitions. I have one petition. Petition to the Volney Town Board. We, residents of the town of Volney, wish to have Pierce Drive Road as a second entrance into the River Glen Square Plaza Mall. And we have, I didn't total them up here, but I have, well, one full page and 2 half pages of signatures here. I don't know that we need to apply them now. I guess it's going to happen anyway. Is that correct, Kevin? Yeah. So there's no other further action needs to be taken on that. But we will file this. Okay. I'm going to open the floor now to public comment. Colleen?
That was a town road,
Oh, yeah.
then shouldn't they have been more aware of where they were placing those wells?
And paid more attention to how close they were getting to a road that they knew was a public road.
I can't answer that, Colleen.
I'm just curious, because I heard that there was concern today that, oh dear, don't take those gates down, but, I just wondered if they shouldn't have been more aware of their surroundings before they put those wells.
It's possible, though, that was the only place that produced the water where they could put the well. But they still, being that was a town road, should have come to Volney Planning and Scruple Planning to make sure they were off highway right away. But, it's hindsight now. They didn't, nobody knew it happened until after it was up. I didn't know it was there until last fall. So I think, so that we're not gonna get accused of anything, we protect it where we're not gonna pollute the wells that are there, so that we can get on with the road and make sure it is properly
Yeah,
done.
well, that's the only way to get to our new parkland, so, I don't know, maybe they're gonna have to not use some of the wells or something, but that's
Well,
a town of Volney road.
The one is a fairly new road, or well.
Anyone else? Alan?
Alan Kestner, County Route 45. I didn't know that was a town road. Maybe Fulton would put us a new road down there that wouldn't interfere with their water supply. I don't know. You can ask them. Two things. You keep talking about this meeting on the 22nd is in conflict with something. May I ask what it's in conflict with?
Oh, it's not in conflict with anything for us. It's in conflict with someone that we want to attend the meeting.
I see.
Okay, we have, I'll tell you what the meeting's about. One is with our attorney.
No, that's okay, because as far as I know, if my facts in my mind are straight, isn't that at 7 o'clock, the parade kicks off for Volney Fire? On the 22nd?
Ooh, good point. I don't think
So,
any of
you
us
know,
were
you don't
even
want-
thinking
You
about
don't want
that.
to have the attorney up here anyhow unless he wants to.
You're
go
right.
to
Yes,
You're right.
that way we can go to the Volney Fireman's Parade.
Thank you
can
very
come
much,
another
Ellen.
night.
Who's the high mucky muck gets to ride in the limo?
Yeah, maybe Ron was coming for that.
Are you?
I've been asked again this year, yes. I think it's tradition for that. Yeah, I never thought of that. I thank you for bringing that up, because that
Well,
narrows it
sticks-
down.
It sticks in my head because I happen to be a member of the 8th Texas Cavalry of the North-South Skirmish Association, and there's rumor afoot that we will march in that parade. I hope we do.
Good.
The other thing I'd like to bring up, speaking of civil wars, I was out at the Granby Town Barn last month helping my father-in-law grieve his taxes, and I was...
Volney or Granby?
Did I said Granby.
Oh, did you?
right?
Okay.
I meant Granby. He lives in Granby. They have just a parchment on their wall stating the names of the people from Granby who served in the Civil War. And I was wondering if your records firm show if there's any way we could ascertain the names of the people from Volney, not just the ones who died, not just the ones who served, but all of them. And perhaps, you know, it doesn't have to be bronze plaque or something, but memorialize them here in the town hall. It was a great conflict, as you all know. I'm learning more and more about how great it really was, but I was impressed with what Granby did, and I thought we could do that. And I don't mean to imply that we should limit it to the American Civil War. I believe that we should, in the spirit of Memorial Day every day, we should be aware of who these people were, who the soldiers, sailors, etc., all the armed forces were who fought in America's wars.
That's one of the things that I'm working on. I've got so many irons in the fire
I understand.
in that office now.
Well-
But I have a list of all the Civil War veterans. That's
All of
one
them?
of the things that, the books that I mentioned before that I had ordered for the historian's office, these men are listed in the regiment they were in and everything.
Yes,
So-
that would be, we would.
So I will try
There's
to
not
have
that many, are there?
Oh, yes, there's a lot.
Well, there's not more than 100, is there?
I bet.
Oh. Well, you
And
may-
I don't know, it
Yeah, you're
was,
probably right.
there
because-
was a real long.
I'm just
list
talking
of
about
them.
the town.
I know. We could, yeah, we could break it down to the town, but I think there'd be more than maybe 100 names on there.
Oh, I didn't mean the whole county, I mean, leave that up to.
No, the town of
I just meant
Volney.
the town, I wouldn't imagine it's more than 100, the town wasn't that big then.
I think at that time, the east side of Fulton was part of the town of Volney.
Right.
Yes.
Many
You
of
got-
the surrounding towns were part of the town of Volney. They seceded.
Well-
The towns recombined. At one time, we were part of the town of Mexico, too.
Given,
Well,
given the
I-
length of the Civil War and the many people that did perish in it, there were continued recruitments of people, and boys that had not been old enough at the start were recruited as they became old enough. And also, well, for example, my great-grandfather on my mom's side and his father, one went in as a drummer boy and the other one went in as an infantryman in the 147th that was formed in Oswego. So there was two right out of, you know, our family. And then my mother's grandfather on the other side, on the maternal side, was also in the Civil War. So if I can point to that many in my family, you know, there were a real lot. But I have all this listed in there. The thing that's bothering me now, I would like to see a list of the past supervisors and town clerks and like that. And I have a gap in my list, and it's for the early 1900s. I have them back from this time, and I have them from 1807 up to 1895. And
This was a town in 1807?
Fredericksburg.
That's very early for
Yeah,
This
we were
was,
Fredericksburg.
this was Fredericksburg.
good German.
So I'm working on a lot of those, so if anyone has any of this information, and I will try to get the Civil War.
Okay, well, I just thought it would be a nice touch. I was impressed with Tom Granby. I'm in the middle of, I'm trying to become a semi-expert on Gettysburg, and I'm reading books, and I see Oswego County mentioned in there. I see the 110th, the 147th, I see the, I think 101st New York Light Artillery. I stop at the road and look in the small cemeteries around here that we never see, because we drive by them every day, but there are men lying there who served in the war, and some of them, sadly to say, are in disrepair right out the road here. But I just thought that would be a place to start. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Kevin?
I'd just like to, first of all, just mention that our new, she refers to herself as transcriptionist secretary. She's doing a very good job, and I want to compliment her. And one thing that would assist, we have seen, we increased the reimbursement for people taking minutes. I think it's based partially on time, partially on pages. And what happens is occasionally questions come up as to the completeness of minutes, what's required, what's not required. And I know I went from 1 month's minutes when this question came up of like 6 or 7 pages to one of 21 pages. And I was wondering if maybe at some point, maybe in discussions with the town attorney or give it to the ZBA to decide, maybe we should set up some uniform standard as to what we're looking for in minutes. How complete they should be, what is considered, because you go everywhere from people who feel they should be verbatim to people who, have them just say we opened and closed and voted. So maybe at some point, considering also the fact that we are reimbursing based on pages, and we spend a lot of money on this stuff, there may be some type of standard so that all the boards can operate under the same standard might be a good idea.
Well, there's certain things that have to be in there by law. Anything beyond that is the board's preference. So your board would decide whether you wanted it verbatim or just the basic resolutions and who voted how, those type of things. It's really your board's decision on how you want to do that, as it is our board's decision. So I would talk amongst your board members and see what they would like, so that you don't go through the hassle of trying to add a lot of stuff or take a lot of stuff out.
Have a standard that they operate under?
We haven't voted on any one way of doing it. I guess by virtue of approving the minutes every month, we're approving the way it's being done, and we're content with that. If we had a problem, we would ask for more or ask for less.
Maybe it's something we can look at some point, get together and just set up a uniform.
We don't pay by the page anymore, though.
Oh, we don't? Okay. Good.
Any other public comment? None? Okay. Yes, Barb.
The DEC contacted me, and June 24th and 25th are free fishing days
Free fishing days.
for Oswego County.
Anywhere in the state of New York, or?
Yeah. And even if you're from out of state, you can fish here free. 24th and 25th.
Okay.
The 2 days, did you say?
Mm-hmm. It's a Saturday and a Sunday.
There was one other thing that Barb and I discussed a few weeks ago, and I forgot until just now about it, Barb, and if you're still willing to do it, I'll make the announcement, and that was, we were talking about, they have unemployment offices for the adults among us, but there's not a whole lot for youth to apply for jobs and so on, no database that I know of anyway. And we were thinking that maybe if anyone in the town of Volney, a resident of the town of Volney, high school kids or college kids who are looking for work, if they want to leave their name and number with Barb and what they're interested in, what type of work, she'll keep a database here at the town hall, and anyone in the town of Volney who wants to tap that database to find people to help around the house or summer chores or whatever, she would make that available to them. No charge. We would just set up a little database. Is that something you're still interested in doing?
That's fine.
Okay. So I'll make that announcement now, that she will take names and numbers and so on for anyone wishing to find some work. And we're talking about children or high school kids and, college students and so on for the summer, not adults. Okay. Future meetings, our zoning update meeting is scheduled for June 28th. The meeting that we were just referring to, I didn't finish explaining what that was about. We're going to be meeting with our attorney over some issues that will be closed door. We'll possibly be meeting with Court Spencer from the Oswego Hospital concerning the Seneca Hill campus. And we may be meeting with Niagara Mohawk concerning an assessment issue. So those three things are going to be on an agenda, but we're not sure the date, but looks like now it's going to be the 21st if we can coordinate it.
Don't forget the meeting with the city of Fulton.
Oh, and also a meeting with the city of Fulton concerning the
That's
Great
too-
Bear.
Isn't that too, an awful lot?
Question,
I think
when
you're gonna have to
when
make
did
it 2
Niagara
days.
Mohawk come into the picture?
Yeah, I didn't heard about this.
Oh, well, that's a tentative thing too. I don't know if that's going to happen. This is something Faye Sanford brought before me just 2 nights ago, and he told me to get back to me. That's a
everything-
possibility, but we may have to do that on another night as well. The parade, I think, is usually over with by 7 or so, isn't it?
The what?
It starts at 7.
Oh, it starts at 7? Okay. 7 o'clock the parade begins. So maybe at 8 o'clock. I don't think it's more than an hour long usually, hour and a half. If we had to have a meeting that night, we could maybe do it afterwards, but
Or the next
it's probably not appropriate because I'm sure they would like us to be over at the field days. So,
Well, I'm gonna be over there, I'm
Yes.
supposed to work.
Don't
okay.
go to a meeting after the parade.
Okay.
Go and spend money at the field days.
We'll talk about the other meeting dates when we can coordinate it with our attendees. Our next bill signing and agenda preparation will be July 11th at 7 p.m. Our next regular town board meeting will be July 13th at 7 p.m. Jim?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Barb, we poll the council.
Counselor Ridgway,
Aye.
Mr. Smart,
Aye.
Counselor Warner, Supervisor Rose.
Aye. Thank you all for coming.